We acknowledge the campus of Eastern New Mexico University is on the traditional land of the Comanche, Kiowa, and Mescalero Apache peoples. To recognize the land is an expression of gratitude and appreciation to those whose land we reside on, and is a way of honoring the indigenous peoples who have been living, working on, and stewarding the land from time immemorial. Colonization is a current, ongoing process, and we are constantly working to build the mindfulness of our responsibility for the decolonization and accountability for the violence Indigenous people face. We are committed to accountability towards Indigenous people and communities by affirming the importance of their voice, aligning ourselves with the struggle, and standing in solidarity. Please consider supporting Indigenous students through a donation to catchingthedream.org, the Native American Leadership Education Project. Catching the Dream improves the quality of life in Indigenous communities by providing scholarship funds for higher education.
Hi, my name is Regina, and I'm going to read a story today for ENMU Reads. I'm going to read a story by one of my favorite authors and illustrators, Tommy DePaola. Charlie was a shepherd. He had a cozy house, a big hat, a crook, and a flock of fat sheep. But everyone said, Charlie needs a new cloak. Stories and pictures by Tommy DePaola. Poor Charlie. He really needed a new cloak. So in the spring, Charlie sheared his sheep. Here we see him catching the sheep, taking his shears, and giving them a nice little haircut. He washed the wool and carded the wool to straighten it out. Then Charlie spun the wool into yarn. Charlie wanted a red cloak, so he picked some pokeweed berries during the late summer and boiled them over a fire. Then Charlie dyed the yarn red in the berry juice. The sheep is trying to keep his wool from being dyed. Very silly. After the yarn was dry, Charlie put strands on the loom. And every fall evening, he wove the yarn into cloth. Charlie put the cloth on the table and cut it into pieces. He pinned the pieces together. And then, when the winter came, Charlie had a beautiful new red cloak. Charlie's a shepherd and he's able to make his own clothes from his own sheep, but you might actually know some people who are spinners or weavers or who sew clothes or other things. In New Mexico, there's two great weaving traditions. Have the Rio Grande weaving on big looms, just like Charlie's. And you also have Navajo weaving on tapestry looms using spindles instead of a wheel like he does. So if you're interested in learning how to do the kind of things that Charlie does, you might actually know some people. And there are other resources like Las Arañas Weavers in Albuquerque, or if you go to the Taos Wool Festival in Taos, you might be able to find people who are able to do this and you can learn for yourself. I hope you enjoyed this story by one of my favorite authors doing some of my favorite things.